Hey everyone, how are we doing? I see Ben said, Brian, I sent you on my Discord with my .r. I have a super small error that I can't seem to fix when plotting my time series with a reactive data and frequency. Oh no! Let's take a look. Okay, so I'm going to look at Ben's issue right here. Benjamin, I see. Never mind. What was the message sent? It says, never mind, I fixed it. Oh man. Aw. I wanted to help. To help. Well, darn it. Super small problem. Fixed it. Hey, Kayla. Hey, Ben. Let me turn off the timestamps right here. I do have an error. It came back. Ooh. Do you want to send to current? Yeah, send it again. Send it again. And I won't look at it here. I'll look at it. And so you got first questions right here. It's your call. Been a little slow off stars lately, but just 3 questions in the chat. What's up, Cliff? 3 questions in here. We can do general questions. We got the new one right here. New midterm. So what's it currently doing? That's the issue. What is the current issue at hand? What is the current issue? If you can describe, you can describe in the chat if you want. I'm going to look at it here in the background. You're taking the EX bike data set to start. So describe current issue. Okay. Oh, so you edited that page. I like that. You edited the page from today. The date doesn't appear on the TS plot. Okay. So I'm going to go grab the... Where am I at? I'm confused. I don't understand things. Okay. So we got the time series. And you're saying the date doesn't appear on it. Year 2000, 1980. No, it's appearing. It's appearing. Here I'm going to show. I can show this. Do you mind if I show it, Ben? Good. Yes, show it. No, don't show my app. Just before I'm not showing the code. I'm just showing the... And great work, Ben. I can tell you're following along today. I need to get some black paper for the window. Tell Chelsea we're going to black out the window. I feel like I'm a little low. No, I'm not low. On the camera over there. Show it. Okay, cool. As long as someone says, okay, you can show it. Okay, let me hop over to the main screen. Okay. It is showing it, like, down here on the bottom, it is doing it. So with your custom time series right here, if you go to like 80, it is doing it right here. It is reacting. And this should be yours right here because I think you've got the different colors. Unless I could try clearing everything out. Let me just clear out what I have just in case I'm running like... No, I've already cleared out the UI from this morning. So I'm just clearing everything starting from scratch. And so it is showing the dates. Here, let's full screen again. I gotta load the day again anyways. Well, we can try like a different one, like the Nestle file. So we can try it with different file to make sure... We actually want to make sure this is working on more than one file. So there's Netflix. There's Nestle. Okay, so this is good right here. Ooh, we got a problem, Ben. Got a problem. It's not loading in the other file right here. I have to look at the Nestle's format. It's getting mad. It's getting mad with this Nestle. It's not grabbing the objects. Do you see this right here, Ben? We're not grabbing the X or the Y right here. It might be because you might have used like Johnson & Johnson. Let's try to fix this up. And if you have questions in chat, let me know. Let me look at what your code's doing. It might only be set to work with the Johnson & Johnson, which we don't want it to only grab. Let me try the Netflix. I don't even know what the data set is. Okay, wait, it's grabbing stuff from this. Maybe the Nestle's is in a weird format. It is grabbing this right here. So time series plot, it's getting that. Yeah, it's not good. Release year, rating. Duration. It's not liking that. I'm having trouble with my app loading data. Here we can take a look at that. If you send it to me, Cliff, next, as long as you're okay with me storing it, I can do some debugging right here, like helping out turn off source of that. Let me look at my one this morning, make sure it's loading stuff in. So, let me pull the one we have from this morning, the No J&J app. I saved it. So let me see if the one I have from this morning is loading in stuff. This is the could not find function awesome checkbox. It's got to be in the library, Shiny. There we go. I wasn't loading Shiny. Ooh, I don't think I'm loading that. What did I break? UI not found. How did I break something? It's so easy to break something. Break something. So, Cliff, if you want to send me yours, I'll take a look. Awesome checkboxes. Okay. Where are you, awesome checkboxes? I'm debugging my code as we speak. So, awesome checkboxes in ours, it's Shiny Widgets Gallery. Awesome checkboxes, Shiny Widgets. Yeah, okay, so you need Shiny Widgets loaded up. Shiny Widgets. Shiny Widgets. There we go. Okay, we're good to go. Okay, nothing's broken now. I followed your steps exactly, and I think something's wrong with my code. I'm not sure. Yeah, let's take a look. I'm going to load in something close to what I have right here, and I'm going to try to debug yours. So I loaded in Nestle, and it had an issue. Okay, so I think Nestle's is in a weird format. We loaded in Survey 10 earlier, and it worked. We're going to load in the Netflix data. We're not liking the Netflix. We loaded in Survey 10, and it worked just fine. Let's go load Survey 10. I'll try Survey 10 in yours. Okay, Survey 10 works. Good, good, good. Okay, good. Okay, okay. I'm going to try loading Survey 10 in yours, and then we'll look at traces. So we'll look at Cliff's. You sent it, Cliff? Okay, cool. So I'm going to keep debugging Ben's right here. I've got Survey 10 working in mine, which shows it works with certain structures of data. We might have to work on other structures, but Survey 10 is loading. I'm going to try Survey 10 in yours right here, see if it's working, and that shows it works on certain data sets, or just structures of data. I would probably remove out all the Johnson & Johnson stuff, and that's what we did starting today, like just taking that out because it's kind of clutter at this point. Like you might try to, but be careful. Once again, we could cause breaks. Okay, it looks like we're working. Okay, we're good. This is yours right here. It is working. You might remove out the X stuff. We removed this from ours. We don't need the extra X variable selection. We might call this time series vector or something like that. So let me ask again, Ben. So what appears to be the issue right here? The start date is working. So your start date right here, if I go to the year, sure, 1800. If I go to time series plot, it is starting on 1800. Now, I don't know if you've connected in like the months. We need to put frequency stuff in here. Like, is it monthly data? Is it yearly data? So we need to add some options for frequency. Does that make sense, Ben? So we need to go to the code now, and also the time series vector needs frequency, which we didn't do this morning. Does that make sense for some good tasks right here? So you can divide this off right here. There's ways to divide it, but going in, and you can just do a full page, and then we can make it look pretty later. And get it in there, make it work. And I would probably put in, like, I don't know if these are connected right now. I could take a look in the background in a moment. But, and then I'll answer Trace's questions. So yeah, get these connected here with the start month, the start day, and then get a frequency option down here because not everything's going to be like daily or yearly data. Right now, it's only taking the year, I think. So we don't have the option, but the time series plot is working. It is reactively grabbing this right here. So, Ben, I'll let you got the floor here for a minute or two more, Ben. What else are you wondering about? Here, I'm going to give you a few tasks. One, get frequency working. Get frequency working because different data sets are going to have different frequencies. Two, connect in the year or the month and the day. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Not all data is going to be yearly, and right now it's just taking in only the year, so it's thinking that it's yearly data. So we need to go add that frequency argument to the time series vector, and then with the time series vector, so you're just going to add the comma frequency, and then you need an input for the frequency. So Ben, is this making sense? We're just going to do like the same sort of thing here, get a frequency box going, go back to the server where it takes the time series object, and then add in a frequency argument, have the input. And one way that people are doing is connecting month into the same thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the way it's connected, month, day, and all that stuff is connected in a concatenate. So like this right here should be, whoops, I didn't close my concatenate. But that would be January 1st, 2019. So it's month, year, month, day. Is it? I can play around with it for a moment. I always forget. I got to double check when I enter in dates because everything wants things in different formats. And then Trace says, could you talk about set seed? I thought it was supposed to lock your answers, but a few of mine still changed. Oh, where are you using that, Trace? It should lock your answers. It just depends if you run the chunk. So a lot of times if you put a set seed in a chunk, you want to run the set seed with the chunk. So set seed should keep your same answers, but you might run some code and then run a code inside of the chunk, and then it'll set you down like a path. And then we'll look at Cliff's here. It'll set you down a path. But Ben, how are you doing? We're gonna hop to Cliffs here in a second. But tell me if you have issues with that. Do you think you could send me that? Yeah, this one that I have. I don't think I made any changes, but here, I'll send you it back. I can definitely send it back. Question 3 on 474. Yeah, we'll do cliffs and we'll hop to traces. Oh yeah, so you're doing one of those. Yeah, let's go take a look at that. Okay. Oh my god. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons. I'm losing my mind. Oh, you think I'm thinking I'm good now? Okay, let me send you this. I don't think I made any changes. But get that frequency in there. I'm going to send you this back on Discord now. You're welcome, Ben. Great work. It's an excellent work. I can tell this morning was really helpful. That was my goal for people to. And there's I don't think I made any changes though. I would probably move out the Johnson Johnson stuff. I'd move out the X variable. I'm not going to be real particular if people are like, oh, you got this extra thing over here and don't do that. If it works, it works. Okay, so let me get Cliffs loaded up here. And Cliff, do I have permission to show your app? And then I can kind of go through. I'd once again remove out all the Johnson Johnson stuff. So I would, I started from scratch this morning. I'm not saying you have to start from scratch, but maybe be very careful when you remove things. It's like, I don't need this part of my car. Let me rip it out. And then you're like, oops, I do need that when I'm driving down the highway. So you got to watch out. I'm learning it. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I have permission to show Cliffs. Good deal. Okay, running it. It runs. That's always a good sign. I'm going to delete out everything I have in my global environment, make sure it runs. And it still runs? It probably would. Okay. And Cliff, which issues are you having right now? I see we got the frequency right here. Good stuff. One thing I might do with the frequency, I can send this back. I did that and started running into the errors, so I put everything back. Yeah. And it's tough. It's tough. Like, it's almost like if you're baking a cake, you might toss out your first cake. I'm not saying you should do that with your app, but you might be like, I'm going to start over, make this cake from scratch again. But you can run into a lot of issues where you might be like, I have to restart. There is no Y variable selector in your app, Cliff. There's no Y variable selector. Okay, so we are getting time series auto plot, but it's auto plotting every variable. So it's taking every variable. Which issue are you thinking about right now? Because when I try to upload files, I can't get anything to appear. So it's missing the whole like reactive ability to make, like I'll show you the app. It's missing the whole reactive environment over here, which updates the UI. That was some code I had to get. If you look at it, it's got some telltale marks that Brian went and found someone who did it, and then like the update reactive UI, which we saw in the other app. So usually when you upload a file right here, the way I've been doing it with the helper start is it will do it. So you might have taken out the stuff. So I'm going to go back to, I'm going to try to update this real quick and create those things in here. So I'm going to go back to the, where'd I put it? Did I close out of it? No J&J app. Best name ever. Okay, so we need these reactive things right here. Okay, so you do have the output choice render UI, and this is some basic stuff right here. You do have these, the choice 1, choice 2, but I think trying to see what got disconnected right here. It has to be up here. I'm trying to find the, because it looks like it has everything, but it's missing something. Sorry, I have to think for a moment on this. I gotta be like, where's everything at and why is it not doing it? It's the render UI. It's taking it from the input file. Oh, okay, wait. We still have the if. We still have all the if stuff right here. I'll show it. We're going to have to remove this out. We still have all the if the file is null. We don't want this anymore. I just feel like this was having people not focus if their file was working, which is kind of the first goal to get the file working. But it's a roadblock. If you can't get the file working, it's not going to work. So we're going to gut out. I can show this portion. We're just going to remove out all this if right here. And then we have this right here, which was that's not the closure on this anymore. That was the original closure on the else. So we're closing off that else and we're taking this out. Now we just have the reactive data frame. It requires the input file to run the reactive right here. So it's going to stop a lot of things later down. So we're just going to run this right here. And we do get this right here. Let's load in a file. Okay, we still don't get the reactive buttons. The file loads in. It is doing time series auto plots. It's through a plotly. That's okay. Sometimes plotly can cause issues with your prediction windows going forward. And there might be a prediction window here. There's just a lot. So one thing you might want to do, Cliff, because there's a lot of issues. Getting this date format to work is a lot harder. That's why I didn't do this format this morning. Getting this date format to work right here is a lot harder than having someone enter in singular dates. I've gotten this to work for other people. You have to use some string R. So I went through the steps with them. Like we went through the steps this morning. Like once again, I just want to show people the steps along the way. I don't want to be like, here's the code. But I'll usually explain. But the way we're doing it this morning is we're doing it, which is an easier way, is to have someone enter in the start year, start month, start day, and then we can go grab these objects. So what I'm going to try to fix right here in your app right now, Cliff, is I'm going to try to make it so these reactive boxes appear again. And I'm just thinking, why are these boxes not appearing? Because components are here. If you see how the UI is being done, so we have this back to this. We're no longer loading in Johnson & Johnson. I think it's still grabbing Johnson & Johnson, though. It's still grabbing that. Or no, maybe it won't. No, it's still grabbing it. It's still grabbing it. So we're trying to remove this portion out. That was one of the first things. So we're going to remove this out. We don't want this anymore. We say, nope. We're going to put in our own data into this. Well, maybe it got mad. Maybe it's not. Ooh, I broke it, I think. Listening. Okay, I think I broke it. I think it was loading up the old version. Let's see if I broke it. Might have to Control Z this. How do you say Johnson & Johnson has CSV? Write.csv, and then the object you want to save, and then comma the path. So it'll be like write.csv, and then object X, and then path.csv in quotes. So, and then the path right there. Good questions right there, Ben. Excellent work. Okay, I didn't break the app. I thought I broke it. It is still plotting Johnson & Johnson by default. I want to remove this out. I don't want it doing that. Let me see where Johnson & Johnson is. What? Okay, let me remove out all this. All the Johnson & Johnson's gone. Sorry, Johnson & Johnson. Let me look at the auto plot down here. Oh, okay. I see it all. Let me talk about it. Right here, what is the main issue with your data right here? So focus in, and if anyone's watching this, what is the main issue with the data right here? This is a big issue. What is the main issue with these datas right here? What is the main issue with these datas? So we know that these pages are working. The plot output is working. The data, like the season plot, I don't think is working right now. But what is the main issues with these datas? What is the main issues? And I'm talking about right over here. What is the main issue? And I delete it. It will actually break now. It won't run. What is the main issue with these datas? Who has ideas? What is the main issue? And then a little bit here, we'll do Trace's question. What is the main issue with those datas? It's a big issue with them right now. Because in this app, we want them to be what? Ben's got it. We want them to be reactive. So we want them to change for whatever someone's entering in. They're supposed to be reactive. Yep. Because right now this is static. So earlier on, and I deleted this off, the Johnson & Johnson was stored in a data. What we want is we want a reactive data. And so I think, and then we would think that I got to figure out why the input choices are not showing up, because we're going to need those input choices to get at these variables. We're going to need those input choices. And so right here, this will break the app. The app will break. It's going to get super mad because I deleted off where the data was created. So how are you still plotting that? Probably because you're still stored in the brain. Oh, I'll bet if I go to your brain and remove that data, you're not going to plot it anymore. Oh, you forgot about that data. So the reason it still plotted that is because the data was in the brain. Now it doesn't know about data. Oh, it can't know about data. So we want it to reactively get that data. The data was still in the brain. That's data reactive object, which is good. I think we're still working with the data reactive object here. And what this means is on the data tab. If we load in data, because that's a reactive object data. If I go over here to the Johnson & Johnson data, ooh, something's broken here too. So the biggest thing, and this is good, Cliff, I'm gonna try to send this back to you in a little bit more working order, is right now we have a lot of broken components. Does that make sense? There's a lot of things that are just not working the exact way they should. So we're trying to like find where each disconnect is. And I think the first thing to do is let's try getting those buttons back on the screen to select the Y input. And so I'm gonna try to get this fixed in the next 10 minutes here. Do I have your permission, Cliff, to show like the full process? I might just show the full process right here. If Cliff says yes, I'm gonna go through the full process right here because we just want these buttons back on the screen. I might go to my helper start file and just start bringing back in code. As long as Cliff says it's okay, I can start showing the full process because I'm gonna start bringing back some things. And it also might be easier at times to just start from the original and then build on top of it. And if something breaks, so we'll see if Cliff gives the okay to like fully go through. So I'll try to fix, and then we'll hop over to the low 474. See if Cliff gives the okay on this, or we'll go to 474. What's the call? What's the call? It's your call. Ah. Let's see. Let's just try to get those Y buttons back on the screen. Is it okay, Cliff, if we show the code? Okay, so yeah, awesome, Cliff. Thank you. Let's do this. Okay, so here we go. So this is what we posted today, the No J&J app, the No Johnson & Johnson app. And we're just going to take straight from this and drop the data back in here. I don't think this is going to solve it. But just in case anything was changed on the way the data is... Okay, so this will only have the one update selector. Okay. I don't think that's going to fix it. If it's that fixable, if it's that easy. But I need to... Oh, that's awesome. Congratulations. Great job. Sometimes it takes... Sorry about the delay. Okay, we don't have it there yet. Great job, Timothy. Okay, it didn't do it. Let's go grab another portion of this. So this is the output choice render UI. We only need this right here. Here's the output choice. And there's the output choice. You have both of them. So we're only going to go into here to the output choice and do this. Let's see if we broke it. Okay, we're going to run the app again. Is it broken? Okay, nothing broken yet. Nothing broken yet. Did this fix it? Not fixed yet. Okay, I think something might be further up in the app. I think something further up might be the issue. Okay, let me look over here. Let me make a smaller font. You guys can see again. I think it could be something further up. Is the file uploading properly? Let me see if the file is uploading. Because we should be able to see data now if it uploads. So we should be able to see the data. Okay, I think there's another problem. I think the file's not uploading. It looks to me like the file is not uploading. Does that make sense? Because I'm not seeing the data. Let me look at the portion of the data table, make sure that's working properly. Data table is taking data table. Let's just go back. I don't see any major issue with that, but, you know, we're just going to take this output right here, drop it in. That is the closure on that. I mean, it's a space. Yeah, I think it's just because I made changes to it today. I shouldn't do multiple things. All right, Brian's going to do what he should do. He's going to run the app again, make sure he didn't break anything. You really have to just keep running everything. We're still not getting the data table. So this tells me it's not, I think it's not making the buttons appear because the data is not loading in. Does that make sense? For those following along, I think the buttons might be working, but it's not seeing the data. So it's not bringing the buttons because the buttons are reactive to seeing the data. So the data tab alone is telling me, I think we have an issue. And what we could do, so I have this running. Oh, man. let's run this and see if it gives us any more insight. So now we're looking at the whole control for this. And okay, let's see here. I think, let's see what we had happen. Yeah, I think it's not seeing the data. I think that's the initiation of the app. Output table. It says data, but I don't think it's getting input file null. See, input file is still null. See, right here, and so Kayla, this is a big, if you're watching and how to use this, it's still reading input file as null, so it never gets the input file. Let's go look at the input file area. So it's never seen the input file. That's why we're not getting a table. I went to the table tab, it just didn't show anything. But the input file is null. Reactive, require input file. So, is that portion right there the same? Let me look at this. I think it's just syntax change. Okay, what is that? It might have been something up here was changed. Let's go for a full fix. Okay, wow, this is a lot bigger right now. Okay, so this is the sidebar. Let's go to sidebar, replace sidebar. So something about this is really mad about that input file. Oh, wait. Here it is. I think this is the issue. Yeah, I think this is it. Okay, I think this is it. I think we found it. Okay. And the answer is still loads. Still loads. Load in file. Boom. There we go. Now it sees the variable, or now it sees the data, and now it sees the data. There we go. So we brought it, we had to start gutting things out. I had to, so be very careful. Things can break very quickly with adding things. Like you might put something in a spot where it doesn't like that, and it's like, hey, when I'm dealing with this input file, I then want to work with the constraints of the input file, and then it's looking for these objects right here, and we cause some sort of overlap where we don't get our reactive. So we have the time series vector right here being selected, and then we need to go through the steps. But so now we need to make the reactive. So Cliff, action item, and we covered this morning, make reactive time series object, which check out, message me back, but Cliff, do you see we now have the availability? If I go to a different data set here, I'm going to go to a different data set real quick. I'm going to add in one extra thing before I do that. Let's go to, and Kayla saw that this morning. Oh, we got it. Hey, is this? Yeah, you've got the nums right here. So only the numerics. Whoa, it's working now. Yes. Awesome. I'll send this back to you, Cliff, here in a second. If I go to a different data set, like I go to survey 10, with survey 10, it is loading, just checking with a different data set. This is a cross-sectional data, not really time series, but it is loading. It is loading, and we are able to select the time series vector, which this is not a time series vector, but we are able to select it. Is this making sense right here? We are able to load in, and we are able to select a time series vector. So back on track. Now your goal right here, your action item is make that time series object. Make the reactive time series object. Covered it this morning, but let me know if you're stuck. Excellent job. Is that the Y variable? Yeah, I changed the name of the Y variable to time series vector. You probably want to maybe, like this morning, we made a page for the inputs. If you saw Ben's earlier, check out earlier in the video. Ben had a page like we did this morning for his inputs, and then he's connecting the inputs to these plots right here. So is this making sense right here, Cliff? That maybe make another page for inputs might be an easier spot than connecting it in here to this panel, because it looked like the issue was that this panel was causing an issue with the file upload. And what's really cool, and if you want to do this, I can actually view everything that was going on. But the real insight I got is when we went right here, your file was null and it never changed. And then here I'm loading it in. So now it's actually loading in the file, which is then I was doing selections of the choices, I guess, right there. And we were getting an output of the table. But I saw that when I was running your app, the input file remained null, which gave me good insight on what was going on. You can see right here the survey 10, all this stuff. It gives you way tons of info on this thing. This is like the visualization of what your app is doing, and it's actually done via Plotly. It's like, hey, Plotly is showing you the output. It's ridiculous. It's more info than you'd probably need, but it visualizes the process by which when you click buttons up here and the different things happening. Like if I click a whole bunch of buttons, those should be the button presses over here now, to where you see each button press going through, going here to the different plots. Like there I went to the GG plot and it didn't appear if you see down here on the bottom. If you do want to know more about this, I can send you the link. It's just a pretty in-depth debugging, and I've been trying to use it to help debug people's apps. So it gave me that insight that your input file was null. And then I was like, okay, gotta get the input file working. Let me send this back to Cliff right here, and then we'll do a little 474. Let's hop into this. Back to the main screen. Here we go. So thank you, Cliff. Starting early. Thank you, Ben. It's just work on these little tasks. Do not code the whole thing at once. Task by task by task by task by task. Just go through each individual task, and when you get stuck, ask questions. Because you're going to get stuck. You're going to say, this is not working. Brian, my app broke. Happens all the time. And then I just try to do as many as I can in the order that I can, so don't wait till tomorrow night. I'm trying to spend more time, more than like 5 minutes talking to someone. So, because I just felt, yesterday especially, I don't know, felt like I fell short. And I want to give everyone the best help possible. So Cliff and Ben, awesome work right there. Great job. Let's throw out some 100 points. You're welcome, Cliff. Thank you, Cliff. 200 points. I really appreciate just like hashtag show up, ask those questions. I know this is tough. I know sometimes you're like, what is this code doing? But who has had an epiphany moment with code? Like you were looking at code, you're like, I got no idea what's going on with this. And then you look at it like a week later and you're like, oh, I get it. And then you can write it and you're like, oh my gosh, it makes sense. And I know how that works now. And I'm like, yeah, how did I never see this? You have to have those moments. And the only way to do that is like working out. It's just progressive overload. I got to push you to that boundary to where you don't know what it is and you're asking questions, and then you start to like think through and you're like, whoa. Because you might be like, Brian, you make it look easy every day. I promise you, man, you should have saw me my first semester coding. I tell the story that I had my laptop open with the answers next to me, and a student asked a question. I'd be like, well, you want to write y tilde x comma data equals. So I'd have my students chant things like y tilde x comma data equals, because I'm saying to my, I'm like, y tilde x comma data equals. And then, now I'll explain, the y tilde x is the formula format, the arguments. I try to go more in depth on my explanations, but sometimes I worry maybe I was better at teaching things when I was kind of like, not that I didn't know it, but I was trying to grasp it, and I had to communicate in ways that I understood. And now maybe I have a higher level understanding, which is sometimes not as good, because if you have a higher level understanding, you're like, well, isn't it just obvious? This is a reactive item, so you have to make it reactive because it has to go and grab the thing up there. So, sometimes it's students helping students. But let's help more students here. Trace was asking about question 3 on 474. Is that the current one? Trace, which one are you asking about? Let's find out, because I think there's multiple parts on this, right? But thank you, everybody. Vols help Vols, and we got so many great things coming up with the donor I'm working with. I'm just super excited because really we're looking into starting just an undergraduate experience for business analytics. And if I have my way, I think we could get it going by the start of next year. Yeah, the current one, awesome. Do little bits. I think you got it. Is this the correct way to do the reactive? I think you're right, Ben. Yeah, Ben, sorry. You already got the rest. What anime are we watching now? We're still going through some AOT. We're stuck on AOT. We're almost done with Deadwood. Deadwood's not an anime. It'd be a good anime. Oh my God, Deadwood anime? Make that happen. We're stuck on AOT. Attack on Titan. Great anime, Attack on Titan. We're stuck on it. We just haven't been watching enough anime. I'm sorry. More anime. More time. You should watch Invincible. Oh, I've heard that's so good on Amazon. I fear I've seen some spoilers. Don't tell me any spoilers. Please do not tell me spoilers. He's just Andre, one of my favorite creators on YouTube. I had to stop watching him because he's posting about the show. And I was like, that looks good. Which one are you wondering about on 3? What part of 3? The full thing? Yep. Abby helping out right there. Yep, that looks like work right there, Ben. Great job. Because you've already got the other parts coded in, so get them all connected. You just connecting wires. Like, but you can also watch Community. I've heard great things. Yeah, Community is Dan Harmon. Rick and Morty. So Community is Dan Harmon. Shout out to Dan Harmon. He watches our stream daily. You know what? Check this out. Here's one of my favorite moments. You ready? This is just a quick thing for everyone here. The within cluster sums of squares. Let's talk about that next. Here's a quick intro for everybody. Check it out. Shout outs to Dan Harmon, who watches our stream.
Morty, we've got to turn the project in early.
That glow effect took me like 3 hours to do. So I'm not allowed to make videos. I'll spend the whole weekend making videos. And that is Nick Brown of Milton Scholar fame doing Rick Sanchez's voice right there. Which part of the within cluster sums of squares? So none of A through D, just the first code, black. Setting up means Harmontown was a good podcast. Yeah, good stuff right there. I'm so confused, Trace. My brain's fried. Sorry. Like I worked all weekend, my brain's fried. Are you talking about number 3D? We'll talk about some within cluster sums of squares. Which part specifically, Trace, are you talking about? The within, like this down here? Like there's 3A, B, C, and D. So which part are you specifically wondering about? Like the ideal, or what is within cluster sums of squares? Problem 3A. Sorry, let's go back to 3A. Okay. So when we talk about the end start for the algorithm, so let's talk about the K-means algorithm. I'm gonna do a cut in the video. That's gonna be like called fun. Okay. Oh, like the coding block. Is there a code block for that? Code block? Wait, there's no code block for that. Oh, wait, right here. Oh, I see what you're talking about. Yes. Okay. So you're wondering about right here. Let's go take a look at that. That's 3 before A. Okay. So let's put this one out here. Why not? Let's go put it out there. Okay, let's go run this. Here we go. Coding a for loop to do the K-means algorithm to find out the within cluster sums of squares. Do we have some data for this? I'm gonna use data that's not our data. Let's go do it. So this is having the K-means algorithm work. I am not using your data, so you need to go through and use the data you've been doing with the data scaled up here, all this good stuff. So make sure you're going through and using your scaled data because scaling is very important. It puts everything on an even playing field. I'm not doing that, so I'm doing a bad thing. So what we're going to do is at the time right here, we're just going to work some quantitative data. So this is how to run the K-means algorithm within a for loop. And of course, I'm going to survey 10. Where do you think I was going to go? I'm going to take just a subsection of survey 10, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is not scaled data. That's a different question, but I'm just going to focus on this one for the moment. And let's go data scaled right here. Data scaled. And I'm going to take, this is not how to do this. Someone's going to do this. And I'm going to take all the rows and just columns 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we have a data scaled, which the data scaled is only 5 variables. Does this make sense? Just want a smaller data set to work with. And we're going to run this through the K-means algorithm, just to kind of show how to do this for loop. And I'll put this answer out there. So when we're doing this right here, we got a bunch of helper code, but it says we want possible values of K. K is the number of whatroids. So can anyone tell me why I go and put the values of K in here? This is the number of whatroids. I'm kind of giving a hint when I say whatroids. Like I'm not saying the first part of it. It's the number of means. It's the number of centers we're using. That's a big hint on the name of the word. It's like where we put our gas stations and we allow everyone to kind of like, oh, we'll put gas stations as close as we can to you. And we're trying to put them all over town to get everyone as close as we can possible to their what? Centroids. 20 points right there, Trace. You are correct. These are centroids. So centroids is just like the number of central areas that data will be in. And we try to get things as close as we can to their centroids. So good stuff right there. So now we have to create an initial vector. When we initialize a vector, we're just going to call the C, not lower, C9, sure. So what's it called? C17, Rick and Morty's universe? I don't know. Now, when we do this, I always suggest doing a for loop by not doing a for loop. So you're cheating yourself if you go down here and you try to do it initially. What we need to do is need to think about the first run of this, which is not that interesting. The first run of the K-means algorithm right here is going to take our data. Make sure you're using your right data, not mine. Do not do what I am doing. A lot of people just copy what I do. Don't do that. That's not the right data. I'm just taking a data set to do this. I needed data to do this. So I'm like, okay, I'll go grab data so we can focus on this problem. So we've got the K-means algorithm right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the arguments again. We got the end start, which is the number of times it restarts. We get the number of centers. Now, here's the thing. The first time I run this, how many centers do you think I want to do? Which is a bit ridiculous. How many centers do you think I want to do the first time I do this? Hint, we're going to go through this vector. How many centers do you think I want to do the first time we do this? We've got iter, max. I used to say max iter. Got different algorithms for the way it'll do it. Trace just shows you the output. If you don't know what trace is an argument when set to false does not show you the output, and trace is right. Oh, trace and trace right there. So we're going to do k-means. You could do k equals 1. Use 1. Should work. We'll do that. And then we want to go right here. It says iter max equals 30. Should autocomplete. Thank you for the autocomplete. Always nice. And start. You know what? I like my spice. Spice. And now I don't like it. I don't know. Code's got to look pretty. And now 25. Okay, is it going to work? Unused argument k equals 1. Really? You going to do that to me? There we go. What is this output? This output's a list. Now, it might not look like it here, but if you scroll up a little bit, you'll see you have different items. You've got cluster assignments right here. You've got cluster means. And one important thing we have, and it's going to be easy to see what this outputs if I call this like K-means. K-means, just call it K-means like that. Capital K-means. K-means, if you go here, you can see you have the totes within sums of squares. So the totes within sums of squares is the total within sums of squares with all the clusters added together. The within cluster sums of squares, I don't know how to run code. The within cluster sums of squares is for each individual cluster. So we only have one cluster, and its sums of squares is this. So what's the total? Well, we have one cluster, so the total is just that. How about if we have two clusters? Now we're going to the same thing right here, and let's look at each singular cluster. And this is the within cluster. This is the within cluster sums of squares for the two clusters. So the first cluster has an error of this, and look, it's much smaller. And what do you think we could do to these two values right here? Hence the tote. What do you think we could do to these two values right here to find out the total amount of error? Because now we have two gas stations. Instead of one gas station, we have two gas stations. What do you think we could do to these values for the distance points are away from cluster 1 centroid and the distance sums of squared error, the distance things are away from cluster 2 centroid to get the totes within sums of squares, tote within sums of squares? We could do what to these? I mean, just think about what it's doing. I mean, you could figure this out yourself here. You can go here. So what are we doing? What are we doing with these numbers to get the totes? Does that make sense, Trace, right there? Like, this is what the total within cluster sums of squares is. It's the sum of each individual cluster. If you have two clusters, how much error is there from cluster 1 centroid? How much error is there from cluster 2 centroid? And what's the total? Now, I guess we didn't call this. We need to take this value right here, and we need to call it within cluster sums of squares. And then we need to store this into area 2. Awesome. And so we're just taking whatever this amount is, storing it into this. And I've just written my what, because if you look at what I do here, I've just written my what. What have I just written? Because all I need to do is just change this through values. So we're just going to ignore this code. Helper code, you go away. I have just written my skeleton. And we need a placeholder now. So the placeholder is going to change here. I call it K. Sure, why not? So the variable is K. I'll call it I instead. K stands for clusters. I like I better. So we got right here I, and it's going to go through the vector of, oh, we already have K right here. This is possible K. What do we call that? You might have called it possible K. Possible Ks. You can call it that. Just make sure you assign it. If you don't assign it, it won't run. And run this. And there is the totes within sums of squares. And then that's basically the code right there. Yeah, the placeholder, yep. I like to use I. It's just the easiest thing to use. And then if you notice, as I was running my code up here, I changed this. You probably want to remove out this kind of stuff when you're done. We do need to make the spot for the possible K. Like if we could have literally just put, like that's what that is. It's the same thing, but you might just assign it to possible K, and then you could manipulate possible K outside of it. And then I is what's changing in the code, such that as the first time we run the K-means, we run it with 1. And then the within cluster sum of squares, that better not have gone up. I'm rerunning it because I don't believe that. And if it did happen, I'm going to relook at this. Because... yeah, that's what I thought, algorithm. You better do what you expect. Because I'm like, no. No, that's not supposed to happen. Is that a value we got earlier on? Maybe it wasn't... might have been just the weirdest randomness I've ever seen. Oh, it is. I think this has to do with the scaling. And I think... I'm going to let this thing run a little bit here. Now let's take a look. That's what we want to see. Yeah, I think it had to do with the scaling. The algorithm is going to come to different answers, but theoretically your elbow plot should not go up. Increasing the number of cluster centers is only going to decrease, but probably due to outliers and craziness of this data, because this data is a mess right now. So actually that would indicate something's just weird about this data. But now I made the algorithm run longer, run more, because if you want to make this, if you want to do something really bad, just make the algorithm run the way it's not supposed to run, and then you will see results that are 10, 18 warnings. That's what I would expect. And now you just see results that are completely wacky. This is not the way elbow plots should look, because we're seeing ups and downs. This is a ridiculous elbow plot at this point. And if we plot right here, it always kills me that this is x comma y and won't take the formula format. So we want along the x-axis 1 through 20, which are possible values of k. And then we want right here on the y-axis our within cluster sum squares. Now, let's make it bigger so we can see it. You know what? What is it? Let me look up something real quick. I've been very, very happy with a certain package, ggpubr. Okay, ggpubr is amazing. Library, ggpubr. Thank you, autocomplete. And ggscatter. Boom. X comma y. Okay, so x comma y. Will it take right here? Y is missing. We don't want a data, though. Can I put null for data? Oh, it's mad. Really? Okay. I'm going to try one last thing right here. Data, df, data frame, data.frame. And then put these two variables in. I have no idea what ggscatter doesn't like me. I want to do something cool to end office hours. Whoa, what's that other one? Scatter hist? What? ggscatter plot. Let's look at their example codes. Awesome, great job. I thought you'd be there. X equals, oh, it wants the name of the variable like that? Really? You want it in quotes? Well, that's no fun. Okay, invalid graphic state, color palette. Everything seems to be working properly. This just needs a reset of R real quick. So let me reset R really quick. This happens to me more than I would like. And when someone one time figured out the code for this, I'm not even on the screen anymore. Save selected. Okay. Let me try this again right here. And so Trace has it. And I'm just trying to get the GG to work. I love GG graphics. Everyone knows that about me. All about those GG graphics. Okay, so we've reset. Let's see if the reset worked. It usually works. And then we're going to run pubr again. Let's run our thing. Let's not make the plot look ridiculous. 50. Oops. There we go. Plot works. Looking good. And then pubr. There we go. Yep. And what's great about this, once again, and why I love this, is Plotly. We should be able to go around this and go to ggplotly. And for just very little work, we get ourselves a nice and neat Plotly graphic. And is it going to work today? Yes. So I really love what you can get for so little out of this. If you look, the GG object right here, the GG scatter, is taking the name of the data frame I put these into. Then it's taking the possible X, possible Y. It might have worked. Do I have these saved to the global environment? The answer is I do. And does the code like this? It's mad. It wants a data frame. So, okay, we'll just put in a data frame for it. But for the amount of work right here, we can just simply put in things like geom titles on this. But for the 475 project, should we create the models and then do training holdout for the models? Yes, you should. And that's exactly it, Abby, right there. Great questions, Abby. You need to make sure you have your training holdout accuracy. So you want to have a page with training accuracy, holdout accuracy. Excellent answers right there, Abby. So you want to create your model on the train, and then you want to use the accuracy to find out its accuracy on the holdout. So you could actually just have one page because it returns both. When you make a model, well, here, let me do, I got time for just one more. Here we go. Let's show about that accuracy again. A little chill music as per usual. Let's go show some accuracy right here to Abby's question. Okay, so when we create models right here, let's go take that Johnson & Johnson data. And the Johnson & Johnson, oh, did I break it? I think it's broken. Let's reload the Johnson & Johnson data. There we go. Good. Data's working. We're going to make a train for the Johnson & Johnson data. The train for the Johnson & Johnson data is going to be a window, and the window is going to end. This is one way of doing it. It's going to end on concatenate 1978, comma 4. Always look at what you create. Didn't work. Nope. Oh, we're not closed. There we go. That's the issue. You pin the code. Okay. And so now we end on 1978. Now we're going to make a holdout. I didn't do it this way this morning, so this is a different way. Start equals 1979, comma 1. And then let's look at our holdout. Does this make sense right here, Abby, what I've done? I've got my train, I've got my holdout. Now, important thing for 474, 475, we always create our model from the what? We always create our model from the what? Someone's going to tell me in the chat. Let's start making a model here. Johnson & Johnson data has a lot of seasonality to it, so let's go for does it mean season? S naive. Oh, we don't got the forecast package loaded. Gotta go our forecast. S naive, seasonal naive. Yep, making sense. And always make your data from the train. Always make your data from the train. So right here, we're gonna make our data, our model, make our model on the training data. So we're gonna go here to the training data, and let's call this the fit. It's a very simple model right here. We're making a fit for it. And then we can look at the auto plot of the fit. And here we are. Get a little bit of a forecast right there to see what's happening and what it would predict going forward into the future. So the question becomes, how does this model work on the data it's created from? Well, we can go right here to the accuracy of the model, which is in forecast. And we should, now this takes a forecast object, which I think we do have a forecast in there. We do. So not that bad. Not that bad. RMSE is 0.8. It typically misses its predictions by about 0.8. Not horrible. And these are the important metrics when we talk about summary statistics. We want to look at right here. Oof. Look at that. I could get into that, but that's We got some autocorrelation on the first order right there, so probably an AR model, autoregressive on this, like just classic stuff right here. So that's if that doesn't jump out to you, that's a big thing right there. I'm not really care about much about the mean absolute scaled error, mean absolute percent error, or mean percent error. MAE and RMSE are your classics. This deals with where the residuals are centered at. Might be a bit of an issue. We might have to kind of use a bias adjustment. But let's take a look at how this does on the new data, which is the big question of how well our model's doing. So we should be able to go to fit, and then let's go to holdout. There we go. Perfect. And let's run it again, and let's clear the screen and make it look all nice and pretty right here. Actually, we don't have the worst of models. Oh, wait, we do. It does better than the naive, though. This is a comparison to the naive. So you want this to be smaller than 1. If it's 1, it has the same error as the naive. We don't talk about the LZU a lot. We just don't use it a lot. There's so many. You got AIC, all these different things. Ooh. The holdout has a little bit of a different structure on the ACF on it. That's interesting. Hate to think there's a change in the series. And there's big error on the holdout. But does this make sense right here, Abby? Like, this is not good. Our model, this model right here is not working the way it should on the holdout. Maybe you could have a metric right here, like an alert for somebody, especially, you know, put in an alert that says, like, your model is working worse on the holdout, which is not what we want to see. The fact that the model works way worse on the holdout, like 3.5 times worse, like 350% worse, 250% if we take out the original. Like, it's 250% worse on the holdout than it did on the original, which it probably does pretty well on the original. On the holdout, it just does not predict the way we want it to. So that is not good right here at all. And yeah, this would not be a model to use. And I saw the holdout RMSE, yikes, like, yikes. Let's just go to the naive model. It might do even worse. And you can see quickly we can just get different. Oh, I see the naive is even worse. Let's just go to the mean. And it's mean S, right? Mean forecast. It's mean forecast. So many functions to remember. You know, the seasonal naive is your best one right now until you start going for an ARIMA. Just probably even going ARIMA, and I like the capital ARIMA on this. Probably what we want to do right here. Let me think. Got to leave here in a second. Order equals, let's go autoregressive 1 on this because we did see a high. So that should work. Unexpected. Oh, concatenate. So we're just running through a few different models right here. Now we need to make a forecast object because the accuracy is going to work on a forecast object. Some things output a forecast object. Like if I try to run this, it's mad because it doesn't have a forecast output. So you have to go here and do a forecast. It's just some things will output the forecast. This did not output a forecast. So now we're storing the forecast into here. Is this making sense, Abby, as I hopefully do things I'm doing a little quickly? I'm going to look at the residual of this module now because it's the seasonality. I can just tell you flat out. I've worked with this data. Like flat out right now, the residuals are going to show. Oh. We're seeing, oh, there it is right there, the quarterly seasonality. The quarterly seasonality, and the ACF is showing a drop. These are topics we've covered. Right here, what's it mad about? We'll do it with the fit. Mad at me? ARIMA just sometimes gets a little bit mad. Error in Lessing matrix solve. Sure. Well, we can tell that the ACF is dropping off on the lag right here. So I'm probably going to go with, so I want to go with a moving average on this. On the seasonal component. And we're still seeing issues. Ooh, let me change this to here. I can use auto arena if I want to like take a better guess sometimes. Non-state. Oh, I'm a fool. Let's go differencing on this. It's still mad about stuff. So error in, let's take a look. Did I forget a comma? Let's go to differencing right now. Let's just do some differencing. Check residuals. We're still seeing it right here. Making sense, but you should be able to see on the graph where the train and hold on mean split. Remember, we color code in slides during lecture. Yeah, so what you really want to see right here, especially if you look at the accuracy of this, is we're still just not getting models back. And, you know, the classic way, or not the classic, you got to watch. If you automate something, you're always going to have, maybe it's a little not going to get the most out of it. Now you see we actually get a good RMSE. Better, it's still, it's better, and the residuals come out clean. Could probably box Cox transform this, and that's where I think we really need to go with this to get the most out of this, is if we take our original train data, and then we need to do a box Cox transformation on our holdout data. So let me do that really quick right here. Box Cox of the train, and the value of lambda is going to be the box Cox lambda of the train, and then we'll store this into train right here. It's going to overwrite. Don't do that. And then, and we've talked about the box Cox transformation. We'll go to the holdout and store the holdout, overwrite it. Right? Really? There we go. And we'll overwrite the holdout with, really? It's a warning message. Did we destroy it? What are you mad about? Is it negative? Oh, I know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. I'm a fool. Never do things too quickly. Okay. It's via lambda we want. The train data is still problematic. I'm going way too quickly. Oh, I'll be back, or I have to run and do an errand after this. Okay, there we go. And okay. Now take a look. Here it is. I can answer questions via email. I'll be back. But Abby, take a look at this right here. That's what we want to see. Does that make sense, Abby? Via the transformation, let's look at the residuals real quick on this. We've achieved something right here, I think. And if you look at the residuals are looking white noise, clean, same sort of period throughout. Taylor, email me and I'll make sure to email back, or Discord. I have to run here in like 1 minute. Or, well, let me take a look. I'll make some comments on R6. But is this making sense, Abby? I've gotten this down to something nice and good, especially on the residuals. It was not done instantaneously. You can see the seasonal right here. I did call the moving average on it, but it wants more of, this is what it did. The answers are, you never know the right answer. You might just try different things. See what you get. See what you get. Sounds good. Awesome. Let's try to do a quick cut. Number 6. I'll make some quick comments on it. From the dendrogram, it may be reasonable to choose 5 clusters. Add in the hierarchical clustering. I think, did we do this yesterday? Message me, Taylor, and I'll send you some stuff on it. I have to run real quick here. I've got to go to an appointment, but I'll be back. Sorry for the end right here. We will be back. Yes, awesome. Great job reviewing it for the project. We'll be back, everybody. Message me those questions. I'll be back here later. Bye for now, everyone. Bye.